Reclaiming Timeless Ways. We're back at it again. Who? Mike Traister, Simon Fuller, along with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, Mike, we post these on YouTube. We hope if you like them or know somebody who could maybe get some value out of our various topics, and there's a lot of them. I mean, we're on episode number 93. We've got a few shows under our belt. We hope you'll, of course, not only follow us, it'll give you an opportunity to get the little bling update when we release a new episode. Also, maybe share them out to some of your friends who could find value as well. That's always been the goal of this show, Mike, is, reclaiming timeless ways, the old-fashioned ways, treating people like we want to be treated, so to speak, the golden rule, and just talking about life a little bit. A lot of those topics, what you've experienced, noticed. Some of these topics might make a lot of sense to you. Some you might say, where did that come from? It happened. It happened. And maybe there's someone you know that could benefit from it. And today's topic, I wasn't sure, Mike.
Dark spirituality.
Wasn't sure where you're going with this one or what your story is behind this one. I'm often as surprised as you as to how this popped into that big old gourd of goodness up there. So tell me the backstory. Where are we going with this one?
Well, I was thinking about that pastor we were referring to earlier who wants everybody's money and lots of it.
Okay.
So we'll call him Hector the Collector.
Hector the Collector. Okay.
And he stands there and he's looking at you like this.
Yeah.
And he's telling you about his airplane and his castle and his other castle, and he travels all around the world. So we need your money to do that, to reach souls, because otherwise they're going to perish. And you, Billy, Mary, Jane, could have prevented that.
Boy, Mike, should we put up a little Venmo handle? I think some people will send you some money. Feeling it.
I mean, I like Joe Frazier's left hook.
Yeah.
Bing!
Yeah.
Done. So, with dark spirituality, there is the illusion of spirituality.
Sure.
But it's self-promotion, right?
Yeah. What's the essence of that spirituality?
Right. Where is it really coming from? The Buddhists say good thinking, good intention, good action.
Right.
Right? What is it? Good thinking, good intention, good action. I think it's good belief and good livelihood. I'm probably screwing up at least one of those.
Well, here's the simplistic. This was my mother's. Every time we'd eat at the dinner table, she was always worried about how you'd eat. You don't hold the fork like this and scoop or the spoon, or scrape up to the edge of the plate. Eat like you're at the president's house. We eat with the president. Mom, we're never going to have a meal with the president.
Prez, I'm
Practice
giving you
what you
permission to
preach.
be
Yeah.
slob like me.
Yeah, practice what you preach. And she'd always say that, whether you were in that setting or not. And that's kind of what you were getting at there.
Right. So this is just like a little mental insurance policy or emotional insurance policy. And that is, am I being manipulated? Am I being charmed? Am I being guilted? Right? Am I being intimidated? Am I being dominated? Right? Am I being literally bullied? I know somebody told me that one of the pastors that I was referring to earlier who got run out of a church, he literally came across a room and like chest bumped somebody when they were having a private to dominate this man. Crazy. Kind of a passive, gentle man that he did this with. Are we being lied to directly or indirectly lied to by inference, falsely inferred? Is there defaming going on? Are they criticizing people who aren't going along with their program? No? Are they isolating people by canceling them one way or another, making people afraid to communicate with them?
Sure.
To fellowship with them. So they're stealing their fellowship from them as a way of punishing them. They're putting them in solitary confinement
Right.
without actually putting them in a physical room.
Right.
Are they being, canceling, blacklisted, right? Well, we're gonna let Brother Harold stay, but he's not really one of us anymore. Be mindful of that. You wouldn't want people to think that you were one of his.
Right.
So we might tolerate him for a while, but be careful. You understand what I'm saying? All this shit, right? So dark spirituality, I don't think that it's just about having a connection with the bad boy downstairs.
Right.
Which of course it all originates from the bad boy
Sure,
downstairs.
sure.
There's a source. Every plant has roots, right? But the question is the stem and the leaves and the the flowers that come from that dark place, what do they look like? Manipulation, intimidation, domination, lies, direct and indirect lies, defamations, characters. You have your character isolating, right? I'm saying these things twice, blacklisting or canceling, and physical bullying.
So when you see one or a number of those characteristics in somebody, what do you do?
Dark roots. Right. Get the hell out. Right. You're not going to fix it.
Because oftentimes, too, there's one more characteristic, maybe you could add a couple,
Please.
but charismatic.
Absolutely.
Incredibly likable. Oftentimes you don't see, you see the flowers, and until you smell them, you don't realize they stink.
They do stink.
Seriously,
They
and
reek.
by then it oftentimes, so I see it so often where it's a person that's really mesmerizing, can pull you in, can really engage, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're caught in the trap.
Very much.
And it's easy as you were reading that list. I'm like, well, duh, who would ever fall for that person?
Right.
Well, that's oftentimes not the first thing you see in that person.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary about that.
So just cross all the shit off that I said and pay attention to what Simon said.
Well, be looking beyond those, I
Yeah,
guess, is
yeah.
what the caution is, because those exist.
They do.
Those are there. They're really good at hiding those until the time is right, is necessary, until they've got you. And I so often use my kids in movies and show, but it's funny how much you can bring some of what TV is to reality in superhero movies. So you've got good versus evil, right?
Right.
Both superpower or hero and supervillain have powers, right? How did they choose to use them?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you've got, this person that's charismatic, that really has all these abilities, but they decided, you know what? My bank account grows a lot faster when I just kind of take this shortcut. When my motivation is money, not helping people, not being good, not being moral.
Right.
Boy, I can make a lot more for myself.
Yeah.
Let me use this power for evil. So it's just kind of, we've talked about that topic before, Mike, but I do hate to see people, and especially it's usually good people that, like you say so often, it doesn't mean we're stupid,
No.
but we can get tricked into doing stupid things.
Oh, we can get big time.
And you see someone taken for granted, or the gal that, came in for a oil change and has a new motor now, or, you've given several stories about how a person can really bamboozle, and it happens all the time. It's sad.
They took this girl's engine out of her little Toyota station wagon, took it apart, and the only thing wrong with it is needed, I don't know if it needed a cleaning or a replacement for the oil pump.
Yeah.
The engine was perfect, $900, 20 years ago.
And we're not saying all people are evil or
No.
we're not saying, look at them like this, hey, what are you hiding? But do protect yourself.
Absolutely.
Look for the signs.
Yep. Yep. There's no question. We need to be,
Darkness exists.
It does.
Be diligent.
yeah. And it's not like once in 100,
Right.
it's more than, obviously if you go into Walmart, you walk around for an hour, let's say, you look at everything. You don't see a single act of rage or violence the whole time you're there. So the place isn't like overflowing.
Right.
But it's there.
Right.
Just like the good is. The peace is generally present, but there is an undercurrent of darkness that's around. And if when we forget that, it was a movie about King Arthur, Excalibur,
Yeah.
and somebody asked Merlin, where is, I can't remember which of the characters it was, but it was one of the knights. He goes, have we vanquished evil? Merlin says, oh no, never. He goes, well, where is it? And he looks at him and he goes, it's always where you least expect it. I'm like, ooh. So should we spend our lives being paranoid? No. No. No, appreciate the good, but be aware.
Be aware.
Be aware.
Yeah.
You know, what did Jefferson said, and it really keys right in. He said the price of freedom, we can include all freedoms, health, wealth, right? Spiritual freedom, relational freedom, friendships. He said the price of freedom is 2 words, eternal vigilance.
Yeah.
What does that mean? When do I stop paying attention?
Never. Right.
Bingo. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Perfect.
Mike. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, have a fantastic day.